Hello. So this is my current EDC lighter. I got this lighter about a month and a half ago. I won this lighter off of eBay for 99 cents. I was the only bidder. So between the 99-cent bid and the shipping and the eBay fee, it was about $8. And I love this lighter. I wanted a Berkeley lighter, and I did not know what to expect when I got this one. There was not too many pictures of it, and it didn't show too much, but I do love advertising that has an old phone number. And this one is a little interesting because, while it does have a street address, it doesn't mention a city or a state. So between the one letter, four number phone number and the fact that there is no city or state on here, that kind of leads me to believe that this was probably from a very small town. This lighter was made probably between the mid to late 1940s, possibly the early 1950s. There's a brass bottom, anodized aluminum top. Still, you can see some remnants of an original gold tone finish that would have been over the brass here on the bottom as well. And that's all. The rest is gone and exposing the brass. And I love that, and I love patina on brass. But what I do not love is tarnish. And that's what we're going to do today, is give this a little light polishing, shine it up a little bit. With the insert in, that this lighter is quite heavy, even for having an aluminum top. It's quite a heavy lighter. I would say it weighs probably about the same, maybe a little bit more, than a Zippo brass armor. And I've had this one for about 5 years. You can see while there's no real patina to it, it is quite tarnished. So this is 5 years of tarnishing. And the last time I gave this Berkeley here a light polishing would be about a week and a half ago. So you can see, especially in these summer months, on these hot, humid days, it does not take too long to tarnish up brass, especially when you're carrying it in your pocket and holding it in your hands. They do get tarnished up very fast. Now, a couple of things I love about this lighter that others might not, from a collecting standpoint, are the repairs. Here's the insert. Berkeley windproof. Flashlight Company of America, Jersey City, New Jersey, made in USA. So made in New Jersey, like me. I love that it is an enclosed tank. It's got a very nice, very thick, bold flint spring screw. And probably my favorite fuel screw, because it's not very common, as far as I know, for a windproof flip-top lighter to have a spare flint compartment to begin with. And then this one happens to have one of the nicest ones, in my opinion. Nicer than they are on most of the fancy lighters I have. This is just a really nice quality spare flint compartment. And just very cool that this is a windproof flip-top lighter that has an enclosed tank like that. So less chance of evaporation, does hold fuel nicely. And I did just fuel this up and put a new flint in there, so that is ready to go. But one of the repairs that was done to this lighter, and one of the things that tells me that somebody absolutely loved this lighter and carried it for quite a while. I mean, you can tell that there's dings, scratches throughout. Somebody really loved this lighter, because when it broke, they repaired it. So one of the repairs that was done here is where there would have once been a rivet here. There is now a brass pin that has been placed through and then seemingly hammered on this side, so it will not come out. And it is very tight. It does not let this wheel move back and forth. And I believe that that was done at some point, because I think this wheel was changed out. I do not own any other Berkeley lighters, but from the ones I've seen, they tend to have horizontal files on the wheel that go straight across. whereas this one clearly has a diagonal files. It's very sharp, produces a great spark. So I think at some point in time, somebody switched out that wheel and then put in this brass pin. Another repair that was done, which had I known before I bought the lighter, I might not have bought it, but I didn't know, and it came like that, and I'm happy that it did because I think it's really cool. These Berkeley lighters usually snap closed without the insert in there, and this one does not, because the half of this leaf spring here on the bottom part of the case is broken off. That snapped off at some point in time. So rather than throw it away or even weld something in there, somebody made this piece. And it was interesting when I got this lighter in the mail and I pulled the insert out and this piece came flying out. I thought I had broke it, but I did not. It was already broken, and this is the repair. So somebody shaped this metal piece here, which is very sturdy, very thick metal, probably steel, into the perfect shape to be placed next to the insert and placed into the case to where it snaps in, stays in extremely tight, and lets that lid open and close with a better and tighter snap than any flip-top lighter that I own, or any other flip-top lighter I own. So it's pretty impressive to me. A little odd that they didn't decide to weld it to that, but somebody did machine this. And I think that is really neat, considering the fact that this lighter is advertising a machine and welding company. So things like that kind of just tell me that this lighter has a lot of history to it. And while I don't know its real story, it's telling me its own story, and it's telling me how much somebody loved it and used this. And I'm going to continue to do the same. I'm going to love it and use it like I have been. So now we're just going to give this a light polishing, and I will show you how I do that. I use Never Dull. Now when I'm going to do the bumper of my car, I will just take a piece of that wadding out and go from there. But for a tiny little lighter like this, that is not necessary. We are just going to dip a Q-tip right onto that wadding and get a little bit of that on there. And we'll start right here on the back. And just very lightly put some on here. I find this very relaxing, very therapeutic. I usually do this in the middle of the night, and I usually do not talk while I'm doing it, but here we are. And I do one side at a time. You can already see how quickly and easily it just took off that tarnish. And then I'll just take a piece of cotton. Look at that shine already. We'll just keep going there. Do a little bit more on the corners. And this is just so relaxing to me and just so rewarding to see a week or two's worth of tarnish coming off. And I could go much more overboard on this too, but the fact that I use this lighter all the time and it's going to get like this very fast again, I just like to give it a light polishing. And not only because I think it looks much better when it's shiny, because it still shows off that patina really nicely and shows off the nice little scratches and the history, but it just feels a lot nicer. It's got a really nice smooth feel to it when you polish it up like that. And you can see how quickly it makes a big difference. And there's the tarnish, and there's how it looks after a little bit of a polishing. We'll keep going on that. We'll do the sides next. When I do the bumpers of my cars and the center hubs on my wheels, I go through much more of that never dull wadding than it would ever take to do a lighter. But this takes so little. It makes such a difference. And it's just enjoyable to me to do this. I find it relaxing and very rewarding in the end. I don't feel the need to go over the original finish there that is still remaining. I want to preserve that as long as I possibly can. I don't know how long that would last, but I'm going to keep it on there as long as I can because I think that's part of its character. And again, I'm not going for any kind of perfection here. It's really all about shining it up and making it feel nice in my hand. But you can see how quickly it takes that tarnish off. Soap and water doesn't really do that like this Never Dull product does. It's just very quickly an enjoyable process. Now we'll do the bottom. I'm going to get a fresh Q-tip here. And you can see the difference there. But again, that doesn't just rub off or even just scratch off. But when you put the Never Dull over it, it shines it right up. I'm going to try to go around that original finish. I don't think it would take it off or ruin it, but I'm not going to take the chance. And when I do this on my car, I tend to wear gloves, but we're not putting too much on here at all. And I will be holding this lighter quite a bit for the next several weeks until I do this polishing again. So, that's just a very, very light polishing on the back and the side so far, and you can see quite a difference. There's the front that we have not done yet, so. And now we will do the front. Now when I do the front, this does not take any of the paint off of the lettering in the advertising, nor does it take off the patina, so you can go right over it. But I do tend to go kind of around if I can, just to be safe. And the same with the lid. There's no reason for this. Won't ruin the anodizing on the lid for any reason, but there's really no reason to hit it because that aluminum does not need to be polished the same way that this does. That can just be wiped down. I'm going to grab a fresh piece of cotton here too. Just tiny little circles. Always love this Never Dull product for many applications. But when I started using it on these kind of lighters, it became a very therapeutic thing to do. It's enjoyable when I do it on the car for the first 10 to 20 minutes or so, and then it's like a little tedious sometimes, but it doesn't feel that way with the lighters. Oh, there we go. No paint lost from what little paint does remain, but it does remain. And if you give it enough of a wipe down, this does not leave any residue on your hands when you're carrying it, but it does leave the lighter feeling very, very smooth. It's a really nice finish, really nice smooth texture, almost a lack of a texture to it. Okay, we are shined up here. And again, I could go a little more overboard with it if I wanted to, but I carry this lighter so much that I really just want it to feel smooth for a few days before it tarnishes itself back up again. So now we will go ahead and put this back together. Look at that shine, that's beautiful. So this, with that repair that was made with this piece to make it functional with the lid, you just have to insert it and hold it in place. And it will snap in very tight. Okay. Very tight. And then the last thing that I do when I do this kind of full-on cleaning is I take just a little bit of the WD-40, just a tiny bit on a Q-tip, very small amount, and I just place a little bit right in there, right on the leaf spring, right on the hinge, and that just makes it flow really nice when you open and close it. Now, this lighter is ready to be carried, ready to be enjoyed. Cheers.